Hi everyone, so good to be able to speak to you today at Meeting on the Med, and wanted to talk to you today really thinking, what are the advantages for a cell therapy developer today in working with a CDMO? And we've seen, especially recently, a lot of companies who change and evolve their model through using a CDMO, maybe building their own facilities and changing that model over time. But I think, especially in today's ecosystem, there's a lot of really good reasons for looking to work with a CDMO. I think traditionally people have worked with a CDMO to look for capacity or scale, but when it comes to cell and gene therapy, I think you need more. The processes are always very complex and diverse, and so buying into all that experience is pivotal. So today I really wanted to talk about three areas that, based on feedback from our clients and what we think are three areas that are quite influential reasons to come and work with a CDMO. So experience, customer service and delivery, and also risk sharing. So for small biotechs and SMEs especially, but actually what we see even with big pharma, although it's changing, there's a need to have, it's quite challenging to get these processes executed in a clean room, these complex cell and gene therapy processes. And not often do you see all that experience available. So, thinking of an example for us where we had to bring a pluripotent cell-derived neuronal cell type to the clinic. You've got two quite complex processes there, and the actual reality of executing that in a clean room, building up your batch production records, having the supply chain around that, there's a lot to consider. And so buying into that experience that already exists in a CDMO for cell and gene therapies can really speed things up. So thinking about that is one of the key benefits. And then customer service and delivery. So one of the things we see when we talk to prospective clients especially is they're a bit nervous about handing over their baby to somebody else. Are they really going to get that drive that they've got and that passion that they've got in their business to really see things through? But actually, for us, I think, especially in the cell and gene sector where, I think we all feel so close to the patient, actually within our business anyway, there is that passion, that customer service, that's really driving us forward. So, we're driven to deliver for our clients' objectives and really see the patient as the real customer. And for us, we don't get paid if we don't do things well either, so there's that extra edge. So the feedback we get from our clients is actually that they do feel that trust, and that customer service is a big drive for us. And that comes out in that kind of partnership approach that we have with our clients, that they feel that we're an extension of their business. And I think the other benefit there is that we take that partnership approach to the rest of our supply chain. So you're instantly buying into that network that we have around the supply chain, consultants, contractors, QC test houses, and even slightly more specialist areas like partnerships with GMP peptide manufacturers for TIL products, for example. So that customer service piece, I think, is paramount. And then risk sharing. So as soon as you start to work with a CDMO, you're instantly buying into all that infrastructure, which straight away reduces risk. And if we think about the key risks of time, quality, and cost, so quite often our clients tell us that time is their most critical thing, getting things done quickly. So again, buying into that infrastructure quickly advances people's plans in terms of getting their therapy to the clinic. But equally, they're not having to put that additional risk of building that infrastructure themselves, and that creating a new risk for them in terms of the development plans. And then quality. So quality, doing anything for the first time is difficult, and it takes getting quality and repeatability and reproducibility requires making mistakes and learning, and so buying into that learning straight away helps you to have quality delivered earlier. And then lastly, thinking about costs. So where do you want to use your cash? Do you want to be using the CDMO, you're not having to build infrastructure, facilities, equipment, recruitment, digital systems, and so on. So again, sharing that risk in terms of that infrastructure investment. Okay, so having thought about that a little bit, I wanted to share an update about RoslinCT, really. So some of you may not know us, but we've actually been around for over 16 years. All that time, it's quite a small company, but we created some of the world's first clinical-grade pluripotent stem cells. And in the last 2 to 3 years, have really gone through a huge amount of transformation and expansion. So we received investment from GHO Capital Partners for the first time in the company's history just a couple of years ago. And that's really helped us to push on and advance that vision we always had for the business. We've completed a fit out of our new manufacturing facility in the UK and got that licensed for clinical manufacture in 2021. And then this year, just a few weeks ago, we achieved the commercial manufacturing license as well for that facility. So quite a lot of change in terms of that capability in the UK. Additionally, we've built some new process and analytical development labs in the UK. And then quite excitingly, around about last August, we combined with Lichen Bioscience, a Boston-based cell and gene therapy CDMO. So that's added a huge amount of capability and additive capability and allowed us to have a footprint in the US and start to serve customers there. So bringing that together, we now have a transatlantic capability to support people from that early discovery phase through process and analytical development into the clinic for the first time and all the way through to commercial. We're about 350 staff now, around two-thirds of that's in the UK. And I think it's the people that drive all that change and growth. So just over 2 years ago in Edinburgh, we were about 50 people. We're now 220. It's interesting to see the ARM report recently coming out talking about the workforce gap that's being, I think everybody's worried about, but actually in planning for all this growth, that's something we anticipated, and we created our own training academy for that. So that's resourced with an experienced team who've been with the business for over 10 years, QC labs, classrooms, and a mock GMP clean room. And in the last 2 years, we've taken over 100 manufacturing biotechs through that, onboarded them, qualified them, and got them into the clean room. So that's been hugely pivotal in underpinning the growth that we've had over the last 2 or so years. And then going ahead, we also plan some further expansion. So we've got 6 new clean rooms just being completed in the Boston site, and we're also at the early concept design stage for a new facility in the UK to help support the UK and European clients. But we're not only investing in that bricks and mortar infrastructure, we also invest quite a bit in our own internal innovation projects and capability development there. So I want to finish up by just talking about 2 of those. One, our gene editing platform and an NK cell differentiation protocol. So I think we all see that genome editing in these therapies is going to be an increasingly complex and important factor going forward. And bearing in mind all the practical and regulatory challenges with that, we've developed our own platform for gene editing. It's relatively technology agnostic. And what we're demonstrating there is some multiplex editing in hypoimmunogenic sites and iPSCs. And also the QC testing wrapped around that, around off-target effects, digital PCR for knockout and knock-in efficiency in polyclonal polyclonal populations. And just thinking ahead and making that all in a GMP-compatible way that can easily be translated to GMP. And then lastly, so we see a lot of demand for different differentiation protocols, but increasingly so in the immune cell therapy space and especially around NK cells. So as an exemplar project, just here showing differentiation into NK cells, and you can see by day 39 we've got a CD3 negative, CD56 positive cell type, and then as they're put into the NK medium, we see a rapid expansion from around 10% to around 70% in about 9 days. So getting the right phenotype, and then subjected those cells to an impedance-based cell kill assay and comparing that to PBMC-derived NK cells where you can see in the top graph the PBMC-derived cells are really quite efficient in the kill assay. And then our iPSC-derived cells are, they've undergone a cryopreservation stage, so they show a little bit of a slower effect, but again, efficient functionality shown in those cells. So really just to give you a couple of examples and show that as a CDMO, we're not just clean rooms for hire, we're always constantly innovating internally and trying to push our capabilities as well, anticipating what clients are needing. So yeah, I hope I've shared with you some good reasons to come and work with the CDMO, and I know my colleagues Alex and I would be keen to speak to anyone at their booth later on if you want to keep the conversation going. Thank you.